Hello, folks. Welcome back to Oxygen Not Included. Today, we are going to pivot from all this industrialization and set up some farms. You can see here we do not have enough eggs around here. You can see we have a couple of smooth hatchling eggs, 14 stone hatchling eggs, and 15 normal hatch eggs, and that is by no means enough to support our dupe population. Our ranch is still gearing up for molten larvas, but still it will need a significant amount of time before this ranch gets fully operational. So what I'm thinking is I will convert some of this area into farms where we can grow something like, yeah, I think bristle blossoms is a good one to. It is a very hungry crop, so we need to be putting a lot of water for it, but I think we should be able to afford it as long as we have decent enough geyser output. You can see here we are accumulating a lot of water, and we can always import water from other planetoid, that's Flipponi, which is already plumbed in, and there is significant amount of water that we can use. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to convert this area into a farm. So deconstruct, and we need to move everything from here. I am also going to move this ranch all the way to the bottom because we have space, so why not? So I'm just going to deconstruct this and move our hatch ranch all the way down. We have our cooling that is coming all the way down from our main aquatuners, and this is going to send us 0 degrees Celsius frozen polluted water. So what we did is a simple cooling loop which is taking coolant out of this line, that is the incoming line, which is minus something degrees Celsius, and it's going to shunt it up on the cooling loop if there are no blobs on this thing. And this cooling loop is set to maintain a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius. As long as temperature is below 20 degrees Celsius, it will circle around, and as soon as the temperature reaches above 20, it will shunt it out this way, which will get merged in the output line and which will go back to our aquatuners. And this is the cooling mechanism we are going to use all across our ranches. Right now, I've just created a couple of temperature shift plates just so that the temperature here should stabilize soon enough. And we also need to cool this ranch because you can see temperature here has gotten up. I'll do the similar cooling loop there as well. And once it gets down, we should start planting some bristle blossoms. Right now, you can see temperature is slightly toasty, 49 degrees Celsius. Yes, that's not gonna cut it. So I'll just remove all the hot debris from here. I just ran a sweep command, and once all the hot debris is gone, this should start cooling it down. And the thing I feared, starvation. Let's see, do we have any calories here? We have a little bit of sleep wheat grain, so we certainly need to quickly send somebody over to that planetoid. So who is starving? Harold, you are starving. You have how many calories? Yeah, he won't be able to survive till that time. Sweetle, 22. Yeah, we'll have to kill up some creatures that are nearby, and once we do that, we will send somebody to the other planetoid, get some calories going, and hopefully we should be able to avoid this death wave. While I was trying to fix up this thing, just to push on some more oxygen, I realized that there is a lot of CO2 in my base. And it turns out somehow I deleted one tile here. I don't even know how and when. And it is literally causing all this CO2, 9 kilograms of CO2 to flood into our base. And that is causing a lot of problems. You can see here, ventilation wise, if I say all the oxygen is backed up, right now we have a pressure of 286 kg of oxygen here. Because we cannot just push in oxygen because this vent is blocked. Sometimes ONI will find a way to screw you no matter what you do. But for now, I think somebody should fix it up, and this CO2 should get eaten up by our CO2 system. So we should start getting some more calories from bristle blossoms. I am also going to configure bristle blossoms to go up through here, and we'll just cook bristle blossoms as well. We cooked a little bit of frost buns because we got some sleepweed grains. So what we did is we just implemented our regular cooling system here and in the ranch above. Both of these cooling systems basically are chilling this ranch and this ranch, just so that we don't have to worry about this getting overheated anytime soon. We are just getting rid of this nasty CO2, which is not a good conductor of temperature, so it is just creating stifling plants occasionally. We want to have nice oxygen here, so we have plenty of oxygen. I'm just going to pump out all the CO2 outside. And we also increased the height of this ranch by one tile because I wanted to add cooling solution here. So that's why. Let me figure out if I can squeeze in one of those new critter stations somewhere out over here. I think we have enough space in terms of tiles that we can manage it. So let me see how we can do that. So basically what our goal is to have this space connected here. All done. Now we can meticulously close this thing up. So there is no longer a dupe access to this place, but that's fine. This auto sweeper can pick up and deliver everything that we needed, and it can store all the fertilizer once it is collected from here. It can store fertilizer over here, and that way we can take the fertilizer out. Right now I'm just going to close this thing up. I unfortunately let some CO2 inside. That's not ideal, but it is what it is. I'm also going to move some of these meal wood up here so that we can have a nice what is that, critter station. So here we have an expanded version of our plastic Draco farms. What we did is we just moved all these tiles, two tiles below, so we can fit a grooming station as well as a critter drop off, and we are also able to fit a nice critter condo. So this will help Draco's mood in case we are late in grooming, so they can just get the cozy buff while we are unable to groom them. And if you take a look at gases, you can see these two are perfect vacuum. So this is a perfect vacuum, this is a perfect vacuum. So no heat should transfer between our fertilizer area and our Draco ranch, and outside world and our Draco ranch. Dracos can be groomed in vacuum, that's fine. So that is one thing that is done. And if I take a look at the room overlay, this is 84 tiles, which is pretty optimistic. I can basically squeeze a couple of tiles here and there up, and I can make it 96 if needed. But right now I don't think we need it to be 96, so it can stay up to 7 Dracos. So I'm going to upgrade it to 7 Dracos so we get more food out of them. So 7, and I'll also set this automation to 7. That way we can always move Dracos to this ranch. The second thing that we kind of want to do is convert this ranch into a farm. So if I click on stations and I click on the farming station, now we do have the means to actually run a farming station, which would cut down the overall water consumption for our bristle blossoms by half, which is a big deal because right now we are running out of water. So as you can see here, we have started tapping into our excess reservoir water because this thing was getting way below the comfort level. So that's why I started doing that. So if I click on here, I'm just going to get rid of all of these hatches, move them to the ranches below. We have enough capacity in the ranches below. I think this ranches has 4, this has 8, and how much this one has? 3. Yeah, they can be moved down. And I'm going to start feeding some of the ranches, obviously. So I started feeding 2 ranches because we are short on eggs. You can see here we only have 28 eggs, which is not very optimistic. Our molten slister ranch is doing pretty good, and we also have a critter condo here made out of ceramic because that's the only thing that doesn't overheat. I don't understand how a critter condo can get overheated, but sure, whatever. And we have enough ceramics to spare. And you can also see our aquatiners are hard at work property wise. If I click on them, this is running 36% of the times on an average, and this one is 2%. So that's not bad. 36% is 1/3 of utilization for one of these, and we have 2 of this, so it's 1/6 utilization overall. So we have a lot of utilization that we can use to cool our ranches. Right now I'm only growing 4 mealwood because we don't need more than that for this population, but we have an option to grow more mealwood plants over here. Somebody move the hatches, please. I want to upgrade this as soon as possible. So stations wise, let's just put down a farming station over here. I'm also going to put down a bin full of fertilizer. So what we need is just a granite bin right here, and that way we can store fertilizer that can be picked up by this auto sweeper, fed into this fertilization station. And this auto sweeper, let me do some shifting around. I have also started getting all this junk out of the ranches. I just made these auto sweepers, put it directly in conveyor loader, and conveyor loader wise I'm not going to connect this conveyor loader line into our main food line, because the reason is we are going to generate a lot of other junk as well, like coal and seeds and stuff like that, and I want all of that material out of my ranches and into our storage. So this is why I like to have this shaft design where all the junk gets dropped on this one tile, and from here we can sort out our junk into food and all the industrial material. So that way our ranches are neat and clean. Now that our calories are stabilized, I think we have procrastinated enough and I need to start tapping these oil reservoirs. So I think this area is pretty good, and I'm going to build a normal petroleum boiler over here. We have magma that we can teleport or transport using our liquid pipes, and we just need to tap all these oil reservoirs. So let me just quickly do that. Utilities, I'll just put some oil wells made out of lead, because why not. So we have started building the oil wells. I need to have a decent collection of oil before we start building our nice petroleum boiler. So I'm just going to start running these oil wells so that we have a stockpile of crude oil that we can use. And I'm also going to close this area off because I don't want this natural gas that is going to come out of this oil well to pollute everything. So I'm going to put a liquid lock somewhere over here, so all the nasty natural gas remains in this area, although it might go out this way, unfortunate. But yeah, there's not enough space in here for us to build it. I might have to do this. So what I'm going to do is have an access ladder for dupes that will come over here, move this entrance somewhere over here so that we can go and repair and add more generators somewhere over here. We don't really need this access point. I can reuse this access point for accessing our oil well. I am also going to have to change some of the design. I need to move this ranch one tile up so we can have a nice pumping station here where we can just pump up this petroleum somewhere. Initially I was thinking of letting this petroleum roll down, but now I want to make this oil tank instead of a petroleum tank. So yeah, there's some remodeling that we need to do, but that's okay. We can afford to do all of that. There we have it. We just moved everything one tile up, made a way for duplicants to go through, and if you take a look at the room sizes, both of these are perfectly 96 tiles and 96 tiles, just squeezing here and there. Doesn't look straight, but sure looks pretty. And we have our petroleum generator almost up and running. All we need to do is who is starving yesterday? All we need to do is connect it, and it's connected. So right now what we are doing is pushing all the petroleum that is coming from here into a storage tank, which is going directly into the petroleum generator, which is now connected, as you can see. All we need to do is turn it on to consume all this petroleum and generate the nice polluted water. This polluted water directly goes down. Give me 1 second, I forgot to block it up. It shouldn't be a big deal. This polluted water should not cross this liquid naphtha, but otherwise my hope was that this polluted water would not go in this way. I forgot to block it up. So block, that's fine. It should flow this way and directly go down here without causing any issues. I think we are ready to fire up our oil generation. So right now we have just connected two of these power wells to a new transformer that are connected here. So they have a dedicated power supply, so they should not have any brownouts. And we have also connected a gas pump which is going to pump out all the excess natural gas that is going to get accumulated in this area. So this area is going to be filled with natural gas and crude oil that is going to just flow on top of here. I just made like a cup design here because I like to keep all of these oil wells submerged in crude oil, because natural gas that gets emitted at a really high temperature, which causes all of these things to overheat, and especially for the water to form into steam. So pipes will break and form steam if we don't submerge them. So that's a good way of dealing with nasty steam. So natural gas will flow from this side, will flow from this side, and get picked up by this gas pump, which is going to directly push all this natural gas at a priority to our natural gas consumers. So our generators will eat up that natural gas first before getting any natural gas from our main storage, and this can perpetually act as a secondary infinite storage for natural gas, because there is literally no limit for that. I also created a smallish liquid lock here and a liquid lock here, so all the natural gas should not escape this area. It should stay right here. So all I need to do is connect this water pipe that is coming out and going to our bristle blossoms. I'm just going to do that connection. So here, let me connect it down this way, sever the connection up top. So all the water will get pumped up to bristle blossoms first, and whatever is not pumped up to bristle blossoms is going to come down to our oil generation, and it should start any moment now. In the meantime, I'm also trying to build a petroleum boiler skeleton over here. So you can see there are two liquid pumps that I already put. These are going to be pumping out petroleum out, and this one is going to pump out all the crude oil to this area, and this area is a nice area for a petroleum boiler, so I think I'm going to go with that. Come on, yes. So oil well has started. This is what we want, and this is going to just collect all the oil here. This is a large enough tank. I can put an automation later on that if the tank fills up somewhere up to here, it should stop all of these pumps. But yeah, that's not a primary concern right now. So let's start working towards our snaking design, where we are going to pump oil in one direction and the counterflow will flow in the other direction. I'm going to have my heat box somewhere over this side just because it's easier to access. All we gotta do is prime this perpetual or infinite storage with two blobs of gases. Now one way of doing that is by plumbing all the piping here and letting two blobs of different gases come here through pipes. So what you can do is just build two gas pipes over here, build a bridge. That one bridge is going to bring one gas, second bridge is going to bring another gas. Have a pipe that goes all the way out. Let's say, yeah, we have one blob of natural gas coming here. I can just plug in here. So you can take a blob of natural gas and take a blob of CO2 from right over here. So actually we don't need to plumb all the way there. I can just plumb it here or pipe it there, and that should be it. That's the easiest way of doing that. The only thing that we need to do is put a little bit of liquid on this tile so it doesn't go away. So that's where the slickers come into place. So I'm just going to use the petroleum that slickers have generated over here. Put a blob of petroleum here. I already put a blob of petroleum down there, and this way we can have an infinite storage. Now for the best part, the magic of snipping. So I'm going to snip this, this, and this. So now we have exactly two blobs of gases. They should slot in automatically without us doing anything. Just cancel everything and let them flow. Now as you can see, if I hover on top of this gas pipe has contents empty, and this gas pipe has natural gas. Where did my CO2 go? It is right here. So let's disconnect the first gas bridge. So let's deconstruct these two gas pipes, and we should have our materials wise gases. Yes, a natural gas and CO2. They are right there. Good job. You can go back, Ellie. and they should not leak, and we will have a perpetual storage of infinite amount of petroleum. We are using two of these liquid pumps because I want to make a full 10 kilograms of refinement capacity. That means that we can refine 10 kgs of crude oil, which will create 20 kgs of petroleum. So we need two liquid pumps to run non-stop to pump that amount of petroleum out. We are almost done with the counterflow mechanism. I'm just going to block it up. We are making a big counterflow because we have a tiny volcano that could not spit out enough magma. In fact, this volcano is still dormant and it will be dormant for 10 more cycles. Right now we have a little bit of magma in storage. We have around 2000 kilograms of magma, and I want to use it very judiciously. Okay, so I think this is gonna be our final build for our petroleum boiler. So what we have here is a simple counterflow mechanism where crude oil is going to come through here, get past a liquid valve that is going to limit the flow, go counterflow up all the way here and down here. Fuck, I forgot to deconstruct this. Never mind, give me a second to break down here and deconstruct this tile. Okay, we are almost ready to prime this sucker up. What I did is I just connected our hot magma source all the way up top the map, and we are bringing in magma at 1 kilogram packets with 1400 degrees Celsius temperature. This magma is circulating around and dumping all of the heat, and it's coming out here at right now 370. So I just want to heat this chamber up to 450 degrees Celsius or 500 degrees Celsius. Here you can see we have a lot of steam pressure. We have 740 kgs of steam, so which should act like a nice temperature buffer and help us boil our crude oil here. But in the meantime, I noticed our infinite polluted water storage somehow broke, and somehow there is one drop of liquid water, 28 grams. I absolutely have no idea how the water could have gotten there. Like, there is no way for water to get there because there's literally nothing there. So what I'm trying to do is trying to recover this by putting in one blob of CO2. So gas pipe contains carbon dioxide, and hopefully this should work. And I'm glad it broke just now before we had too much pressure here, because if we had too much pressure here, it would literally explode all the way over here. So we got slightly lucky in that sense. But I still have no idea because there are no water pipes coming here, and it's like a tiny bit of water, 28 grams of it. Okay, tragedy averted. All we need to do is deconstruct these bridges and put another blob of let's see what we want. I think I'm just going to put another blob of this natural gas over there. So that is done. So deconstruct this gas pipe, please. It did not work. Huh. Material wise, gases. Yeah, there is CO2 there, but there is no natural gas. The natural gas did not come through. What can I do here? I'll just put a tile here so that it gets deleted, and the CO2 should push down, and we can put another blob of natural gas up top instead of putting it down. ONI somehow, somewhere, finds a way to mess with you. Doesn't matter how good you prepare yourself or you think you have prepared yourself. And the CO2 got deleted. Of course it did. Of course it did. Never mind. I'm going to put yet another blob of material wise. Okay, there is my CO2. So I'm going to put yet another blob of airflow tile, and hopefully that will work. Okay, Steve, stay inside. I'm going to do the connections again. Snip, snip. Okay, let's take a look. So material wise, we have CO2 in both of these tiles. So if I deconstruct my gas pipe here, it should create one blob of CO2 and one blob of Come on, why? And why are you not off gassing water? How much carbon dioxide is there? 21 grams only. Come on, off gas. And does it help if I delete this tile? Will it work? Oh, it worked. Good, 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 good. So I don't know how somehow deleting that tile worked. So now we have our infinite storage back up and running. I just need to clean up this thing. Materials wise, yes. So there is a blob of natural gas and blob of CO2. This is what we want. Okay, so let's see our temperature wise how we are doing. We are 390 degrees Celsius, so we are just shy 50 degrees Celsius shy. So once we have reached 50 degrees Celsius, I think that would be our stopping point. We are ready to fire this sucker up. So what we have here is a line that is coming up from up top, which is connected to our nice magma supply. I expanded our magma storage so that we can have enough things, and this basically rotates on and on and on so that pipes doesn't break and magma stays nice and hot in our tanks. Now it goes through this liquid meter wall, which is currently set to 10 kilograms, and as soon as it receives a reset signal, I have not connected it just yet, but I'll connect it right now. So as soon as it receives the reset signal from here, it will start, and it will start flowing magma through this liquid meter wall. This meter wall limits the magma to 1 kilogram per second. That way we do not break the pipe. So I'll just reset it manually this time, and it will allow the magma to flow all the way from up top all the way here and onto our loop. So this is our magma loop. Its job is to extract all the heat out of magma by rotating the magma round and round and round and round till the magma reaches a temperature of 500 degrees Celsius. As long as magma's temperature is above 500 degrees Celsius, it will rotate in the loop, and this loop is of length more than 20, I think 10 tiles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this loop is of length 13, so it should not let magma collect on itself. So as long as we have only 10 blobs of magma, this should work perfectly. Once the magma goes above or below 500 degrees Celsius, it gets shunted out this way and directly into this vent. Here we have just one tile storage for all the igneous rock. We don't care about this igneous rock right now. This is 5.6 tons. You can think of it later on. But right now, all we need to make sure is this magma rotates around this place and circulates the temperature right here. So you can see right now the metal temperature here is 895 degrees Celsius, and it is going down. And there's a big steam room here which acts like a temperature buffer, and it will allow all the heat to get circulated using just the metal pipes made out of radiant steel. Now, how the automation works here is we have an automation wire which is going to set using this liquid pipe element sensor. It senses if there is magma in the pipe. If we detect that there is no magma in the pipe for the duration of 10 seconds, that means that all the magma has been spitted out and there is nothing here to basically keep on heating our petroleum boiler. So that time it will trigger a green signal. That green signal will go to this signal counter, and this signal counter's job is just to make sure that we only emit one tick out of green signal. We don't want to reset this thing multiple times. So as you can see, this signal is connected to the reset of liquid meter valve. So if we have a green signal coming in for more than one ticks, it will reset it multiple times. We don't want that. We just want it to reset once and wait till there is more magma here. So it will do it in batches and only get a batch of 10 blobs, and we just short circuited the output to the reset. So every time it counts up to 1, it resets itself. So if you can see here, it just goes up to 1 and it just resets itself. So that is the automation. We will connect this crude oil. So right now I have not connected crude oil, so let me connect the crude oil here. So crude oil is going to flow through here in 1 kilogram blobs, and right now I'm setting it to 1 kilogram because I want to prime this up. The length of this counterflow is interesting because I am not sure at what point the crude oil will become too hot for this counterflow. So that's why I kept this secondary pipeline here. So if any of these radiant pipes breaks because of crude oil turning into petroleum, we can just connect it down the lines, so to the bypass, and it will still flow to the liquid vent. So that is the idea of having a bypass line here, which can be connected on top as well as on the bottom. So we can shorten our, I guess, counterflow. And now this counterflow, all it do is it just needs to connect it to this heat source. So right now this heat source is setting to 880 degrees Celsius. What I need to do is flash point is 405 degrees Celsius. So as long as the temperature here is above 405, it will open up. Temperature you can see here is heating up. I left a blob here because I didn't want it to flash to sour gas, because if we don't have enough crude oil here when we are starting this petroleum boiler, it will open and it will go into sour gas, which is a pain in the ass to deal with. So that's why I'm doing this. So great, now we have started boiling petroleum and this automation is working as expected. It is heating it up to 405 degrees Celsius, and once it is done, it opens up the door. And you can see here there is a lot of heat still in this reservoir. So as long as the temperature here stays above 500, this should work seamlessly and it should import magma preemptively. Now I need to tweak on these values because I'm not sure if 500 would be enough. I can keep the buffer temperature up to 600 just to begin with. Technically we have more than enough magma coming in. So if you take a look at our minor volcano, this volcano emits at average output is 410 grams per second. So as long as we are using less than that, less than half a kilogram per second, we should be able to constantly run this petroleum boiler. So you should be able to see that all the petroleum has been emptied out. And if I click on automation, this is already sent out the green signal. That signal has already reset this. And if I click on magma blobs, there should be magma blobs traveling to the petroleum boiler. Yep, it's 760 degrees Celsius. So we still have enough heat till the new magma blobs come here. And you can see here all this magma is traveling through this vacuum space. I wanted all these liquid pipes to be heated up. So right now this insulated pipe is made out of obsidian, is heated up to 1000 degrees Celsius. Similarly, all the way down here it's also 993 degrees Celsius. So that way we don't lose a lot of heat while magma is traveling from top of the map all the way to the bottom. Gearing up a petroleum boiler ready is pain, especially when you want to do something quirkier. Like in this case, working with only 400 and something grams of magma per second. But I think this should work, and over the time we can figure out how much magma or how much petroleum we can boil using 400 and something grams of petroleum per second. So that would be the ultimate test of this petroleum boiler. And it has a nice counterflow, so I'm hoping that counterflow should be able to gain a lot of efficiency. So I'll run it for a couple of cycles and see what comes out of this. So I think it took me a long time to get this primed up and running. So this seems like a good point to end this episode, and we can work on some other projects in the upcoming episode. I also need to put on some petroleum generators here so that we can start burning this petroleum and convert that into nice CO2. You can see our slicksters are almost starving. They have eaten up almost all the CO2 that we have been generating with 3 natural gas geysers. So we technically are not floating in CO2. I'll probably connect this gas pump inside because we are starving for ventilation. So this is coming here, this is coming here. I just need to bridge this CO2 to go into the CO2 is chilled and it should just flow here. I also moved out some of this setup so that all of my magma stays inside of this insulated tiles. That's why I had to move my gas pump over here. That's not a big deal, but we still have plenty of space and we still have a lot of oil in reserve that we can start eating up. So I hope you folks enjoyed this episode. Hope to see you folks next time.